Welcome back to Wilson's World, and in this episode, we're going to talk about something that nearly all of America is addicted to, and that's coffee. But you know, way back in the old days when you had coffee, you had to grind it first. So I'm going to show you a few coffee grinders that we've collected here at the museum, what their values are, what their values used to be, what their values may be in the future again, but mostly let's talk coffee and coffee grinders. This right here is a New Britain coffee grinder. It's a beauty, all original paint, original dust too, and even the Landers and Frary Clark decal is still on this grinder. This came from an estate that we handled there in Hamburg, New York a few years back. So in the old days, you dumped your beans in the hopper right up here on top, just like that. Close that lid up so you wouldn't get any overspray. Turn the grinder wheel like this, grind up the coffee, and then down below, which you can't really see real well, is a drawer where your ground coffee could be taken out of and taken home and sold in the store. Now, if you had coffee beans at home and wanted to grind your own coffee, you'd have something like this. And this is what we refer to as a lap grinder. This is a real nice wooden lap. It's all wood, has a drawer right here. And once again, you dump your beans in top, turn the crank, grind up your beans. I'm sure there's modern versions of these today as well, of course, and pull your grinds out. So this is a lap grinder, one that you'd have at home. One that I really like that I found in an antique shop up in the Adirondacks not too long ago was this one. This is a tin lap grinder or a counter grinder, and the reason why I bought it, besides the fact that it looked cool and it was an old red paint, is it says Elma on it, and Elma is a little suburb of Buffalo, New York, and a wonderful little community in its own right. That's why I bought that, because it said Elma on it. It's a nice grinder. But speaking of nice grinders, as we go down the line here, we have an Enterprise, and I forget which number it is. It's probably on the front. Anybody see what number that is? I don't know. But this is an Enterprise grinder. That's this size right here. And the value of a grinder like this today probably would be in the $700 to $1,200, maybe $1,500 range. And that's going to depend on what part of the country is for sale and whether it's in some tourist shop or in real world. In my world, I value a grinder like that absolutely at $1,000 plus minus either way. The first one I showed you here actually hammered down at auction just a few years ago for a very reasonable $450. However, it's worth twice or three times that in complete original paint. Then further down the counter, you'll see the real grinder of the Country Store Museum here is this big Enterprise with that wonderful lid on it and just great graphics, original paint and decals. And you would see that grinder available, once again, depending on what region of the country it is, probably with values exceeding $2,000. So coffee grinders are a wonderful part of general store memorabilia and collecting, and I've managed to collect a few over the years. And in this particular episode, we'll finish off with a coffee. You know what else? Forget that. I've got some other coffee collectibles as well. Here's one that's very regional, and one that I've had this for 40 years. I've had this tin. It's one of the first antiques I ever bought. And you can see this is Old Southern coffee. It has nothing to do with the South because it says Larkin Company, Buffalo, New York on it. Wonderful old tin. You can still turn these up out there once in a while, maybe in a yard sale or garage sale. I value that tin at about $50 to $75. It's in great condition. That's one coffee tin. Here's another one. This one turns up a lot more. You'll see this more often in all different sizes, Manroo coffee. So because there's so many of them out there, naturally that would keep the value down somewhat, but still a worthwhile tin, and I'd value that at about $25 to $35. So in closing and in recapping the coffee grinders, we'll end up with one that's actually on loan to the museum from some folks nearby, and that's right over here by the front door. And it's another Enterprise and a beauty. I think it's a number 4 or 5, I don't know. Can you see that, Adam? Hold up your hands if you see a number on the drawer. Number 9. So it's number 9 grinder. And that's another good one, valued at around $750 to $1,200. So if coffee's your thing and vintage items are your thing, collect coffee grinders. It's worthwhile. They're really hard to find anymore. Anytime you get a chance to find one that you can add to your home or your collection, buy them. Coffee is hot. Bye.